quickly before the show got going. But actually before that, the ESPN interview that happened with CM Punk.
What was that about with people talking, like bringing it up as if it was going to be like, as if you're going to drop some bombshells on, then you read and you're like, oh, this is nothing. Even
Well,
if you hadn't mentioned it with your guard up, you still be like, oh, okay.
well, I think the deal was like there was stuff that didn't get printed in the interview that obviously didn't make it, and then when it comes out, it always looks different from whatever. I think I think Wade Keller was right, like because people still got upset. He was like, people were not going to be happy with this. People weren't throwing parties after this thing came out. I think it was good from a sense that we got CM Punk's name on some of this stuff that supposedly was lies and rumors and all this stuff that was happening for months and months and months. I saw it and I was like, interesting. Some of the stuff in there, I was obviously just looking at it and kind of looking at it like, okay, but it's interesting how no one else says a word, still can't say a word for months and months and months. But this is what he continues to do. So it's just rehashing all this old stuff, bringing up new found points about the match at Double or Nothing, more about that shoot aspect stuff where I think he said something like, they basically had talked before, that one promo that happened, and he and Hangman had, kind of a outline of what they were going to say, and then Hangman said something else, essentially the workers' rights thing. CM Punk asked him about it. I believe Hangman said, well, didn't that happen, or something like that, or basically like, because you did, or some shit like that. And he was like, no, I didn't. He still works here, but we hadn't seen Colt Cabana for months and months, and he was kind of in that process.
He got shipped off to ROH.
I don't even think it had got that far yet. He was just gone, like, and then he popped
I
up
thought
on
he got
ROH
transferred
later.
immediately.
Yeah,
Okay.
but all that, obviously, we've litigated this thing hundreds of times, or not hundreds of times, a bunch on this show. And then he was like, that whole aspect was, there was like receipt stuff possibly going on in the middle of the one match. And he was like wondering about the chops, and the chops of the mouth said he had a chipped tooth. And I don't know.
Tough shit.
Yeah,
like I don't mean to say like, whatever happens, but it's like, we see people get their fucking teeth knocked out in the middle of matches, keep going. Like, I remember when AJ Styles, when he hit this, does the kicks and then that back fist, he done knocking out one of Miz's teeth.
Yeah.
Match kept going. I don't recall Miz going on some tirade about how AJ Styles like is a fucking idiot. I don't recall any of that.
It's an entire year later. It's like the guys that the people that are champion this, it like people will have chopped these clips up and everything like that, and for the soft ass cowboy and all this shit that everyone's talking about, it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know what people want out of this whole thing. It's like, is he soft because he's hitting the guy too hard or hitting him in the wrong place? Like, I'm like, all right, man, like I don't know what to do with this anymore at this point. Because aside from hand these guys some gloves, say box it out,
which Punk doesn't want to do because he's threatened.
Right. Like, I don't think he would actually want to run it with Adam Page personally, but it's just a when I watch the type of wrestling that I do, that James watches and watches Stardom, I'm like, will he complain about the teenagers hitting him too hard? Like, what's the deal here? Like I don't care about how hard somebody gets hit in the ring. I don't.
To be fair, I think the thing wasn't necessarily, obviously we've all had these talks about like, there is some word about whether or not CM Punk wants to take chops or certain big, punishing blows compared to, I don't know, regular standard, Memphis punches or whatever else. Even though, how about, yeah, if you want to go in there with Shane, good luck. Right, but so I think the thing is, from what I saw, his perspective was, well, I don't know whether or not we have heat still or anymore, but we did, and then I just got a chop in the mouth. I don't know how to take that, which that is fair. That's a human reaction of like, I thought we were past this. I got hit in the mouth, but it's like, it's also pro wrestling. Shit happens. And also, like, more importantly, when like shit happens like that, like most of the time, people they're already over it by the time they get back to behind the curtain. Why is he still holding on to all this stuff?
If the complaint was name on this was Sammy Guevara, people would be calling him all kinds of bitch, soft, everything. So like, people got to pick. Like, is this the big tough man CM Punk that apparently is just whooping ass and taking names and everything else, or is he the fragile like person who y'all don't want to actually see people get hit hard when you say this is how these soft people operate and everything else like that? And I'm like, I don't know what you want. So you tell me what y'all want. So
I think or this is how I feel. I feel like I understand both of their perspectives, CM Punk and the Elite / Adam Page perspective on all this. I feel like,
hey, James, I wish we knew the Elite's perspective. I wish we knew Adam Page's perspective, but unfortunately, we don't.
I mean, I think they were given instructions not to. And they're not dealing with it. And that's fine. Like, if they don't want to, if they're not going to talk about it, they're not going to talk about it. You can't force them to talk about it. No matter how many times you cut, work shoot promos on them to try to goat them into a future money program. If they don't want to work with you, they're not going to work with you. Eventually, that's going to get real old real quick. But from the CM Punk perspective, is like, I get why the things he says is like, okay, this happened. I saw it this way. Okay, I can see how someone gets to that point. And he did say he apologized to Tony Khan. So
that was more than we'd heard from him previously. So
that's true.
Like, that's true. That I think that should be noted, because I was like, bro, like, you embarrassed this promotion. Like, fuck, like just the individual guys, like your beefs with them, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you embarrassed this company and made it look bad. Like, you made the people watching this shit be like, huh? Like what is happening? It was like a demolition, essentially.
Right. And a lot of the reason why a lot of people watch AEW is to get away from the feeling of everybody is like politically jockeying to get to whatever spot they have, even though like that's not realistic. That's pro wrestling. I think for me, like, to hear Punk and to hear Kenny Omega at a different time a few months ago say like, hey, like, shit happens and you kind of like let it go blow over or you move on. I'm like, yeah, I agree. However, Punk, it's been almost a year now. And you're still talking about this, and like, obviously, like, he's talking about it because
been
like
done still about it, and I'm like, well, what do you want to be done about it, bro? Like,
right. Well, like, his thing is like, you're still talking about it, and like, this is his point to talk about it, because like this is his
lifeline.
This is his thing to keep him hot for now coming back, right? Because like, he comes back, he's in Chicago, and he's getting cheered to death, but like, he's clearly working heel during this promo, right? Like, he has a shaved head, which was like, after he turned on Raw 1000, he had a shaved head. He did the whole thing where he took off the mic logo thing or whatever else. He's clearly working heel, and he's clearly like giving up, because he knows like, I'm in Chicago now, and like, I'm doing my Bret Hart babyface in my home area, heel everywhere else thing. Like, when he takes his ass to Toronto and to Hamilton, to Regina and everywhere else, he's going to get booed.
Take us through the promo if you can. I guess we can just blend it all together.
Yeah. So, Punk says he's tired of being nice. He was on the shelf for 10 months with a ruptured triceps that I believe he said was torn off the bone. He says as long as he was here, this is a professional wrestling business. It's not a popularity contest. Got to say, that makes no sense, because a lot of pro wrestling is a popularity contest based over who goes up, who goes down. Period.
Bingo.
Whatever. Like, I'm gonna get what he's saying. Like, he's doing it from the kayfabe perspective of like, you win, you lose, and you get promoted based off of you win, or you get demoted based off you lose. Whatever. He says, if I was told young CM Punk that he would sell out buildings all over the world, young Punk would believe you. And then he goes on and says, Madison Square Garden, Budokan Hall, which he absolutely has not sold out because it's like 18,000 to 17,000 people.
Bro, I saw someone tweet the cage match card of that. I believe it was
like less than 6,000.
It was like 5,700 or something like that.
Yeah.
Then he dropped the tell me when I'm telling lies. I was like, all right, man, the whole shit's blown up now. You should stop. But, you know.
Now, to be fair, we don't know. Like, obviously, we know sellouts are different based off like sellout based off of they opened up every single thing, or these are the only amount of tickets that were available to be sold, and therefore you sold out that particular number. Right, but whatever.
He can have that one.
Not getting into the either or that is not important.
It's like when Hulk Hogan put 200,000 in the Budokan.
Yeah. Which is like that's not even. You couldn't even possibly do that. I've been to that building.
Wasabi King said the same thing in the comments. This is like Hogan's embellishments.
Nah, those are far worse.
Yeah.
Far worse. So he said, I'm sorry. So he said like he's gotten here by writing off the backs of smart and passionate professional wrestling fans. And he loves people because he says, and he loves the people because they love him. They love him because he's always unapologetic and he's himself. But there are some people that do hate him, and Punk's knows his presence makes people uncomfortable because he is the truth, and the truth is painful. And then like the crowd starts chanting "fuck the elite" chants at an all elite wrestling show.
Imagine. I've heard people try to refute this.
What do you think the E stands for, my friend?
I've heard people try to refute this and say, you wouldn't say fuck Vince McMahon at a WWE show. Well, one, they don't fucking boo Vince at WWE no matter what. Like, for one. And two, the company's not named after Vince McMahon. Like,
right.
But the fuck the elite
and also it's like
are very funny.
I'm sorry, I didn't know the elite were out here like getting fired from their positions because they were using company funds to pay off their sexual misconduct at the workplace. I don't recall that ever happening. But okay, whatever. Yeah. I guess having an argument with the rest of you like is so much worse than than what Vince McMahon has. Like, what kind of fucking point is this Vince McMahon thing?
It's a lot of nasty, strange bedfellows of people that have been longtime CM Punk fans, and then they out there rolling in the mud with them Cornette people, and that's showing up with them Jim Cornette shirts on, and it's just a nasty, unholy alliance.
Now, Rich, I think out of all the friends that we out of the Largo Loop and Social Suplex, outside of maybe Floyd, am I probably like the most person that's trying to give the most extended like chance of like rope to CM Punk out of the clique? Would you say?
I think everybody else is pretty much like take it or leave it, or doesn't want to see him anymore.
Right, and like me and Floyd, like Floyd's the only person that's like, be like, hey man, like I don't care. Floyd's like, whatever, I don't care, I want to see him. Me, I'm like, that's fucked up what he did, but like, bro, that ain't bad enough for me to be like, take him off TV. Like, he's fucking great at television. I don't give a fuck. Like, he's an asshole, but that asshole sure is good at fucking pro wrestling. So like, even my point, I'm just like, why you're saying you hate the, like, I don't understand the people that, I just don't get the mind frame of people that are like, that love Punk so much that like they hate the elite on this, because like, let's compare both wrongs in each party. Who's more wrong in all of this stuff? It's CM Punk. I don't get it. But okay, whatever.
Like,
so
I think the easy comeback to that would be, well, Hangman started. I'm like, well, are we acting like children?
We're not
are we acting like
old.
Children? Like, yes, that are like 6 years old. Well, this person started. I'm like, all right, let's draw the chart. Let's do the T chart. Like, since we want to be 6 and 7 and 10 years old, let's draw the T chart, and then we'll write what happened on each side, and then you tell me what outweighs what.
Not even, or you could be like, okay, well, since he started it, how about this? How about I hand you a handgun and you shoot Adam Page? Because once you start something, it has to be finished, right?
Yep.
You're going to be that fucking obtuse about this, right? So
like I
Anyway,
really want to do our show in a way to cut through a lot of the easy stances on this shit, because you can
yeah,
easily say you're with one side or the other, whatever. I'm a pretty public, well-known elite fan. I don't even really tweet publicly too much about this whole situation and everything like that. But when I want to talk about this stuff, I feel, for me, it feels pretty clear. I think saying fuck the elite at the elite show or at
it's
AEW
laughable.
is funny. And then
Yeah, it's
it's like,
laughable.
and I
Like, I mean,
know it's like it's because it's like, all right, if CM Punk wasn't here, right? I'm thinking like this: if CM Punk wasn't here, and all these people, like, because like these are not people who, like, the numbers say, like, these are not all new fans that were just brought to the promotion. Like, these are people that have been around, everything else like that. And it's like, I feel like it's the cornet poison. Like, I really feel like it's the cornet poison. And then they were like, oh shit, we were able to rope in, kind of by association, this really big star, CM Punk. So now, like, this kind of shit really exists from these people who didn't like the elite before or whatever. The people that are sharing the AEW botch videos and stuff. These are the people that are chanting "fuck the elite" and stuff like this. For the most part, I believe. And then, like, we'll get into it more with the choice of the music on Collision, but there seems to be a conscious attempt to try to appeal to an older audience. Create an
yeah,
alternative already for your alternative. Like,
yeah. Like, to me,
what?
watching the show, I don't. You saw me say this when I was watching the show live. I thought the show was great, and I thought, like, between Dynamite and Collision, that, like, these are two totally different shows, but they were both great for what they were both going for. And when I was watching Collision, it felt like I was watching, like, a 2-hour SmackDown or a 2-hour Raw or whatever else. And it was like one of the better ones where you have, like, this big Punk promo, you have that awesome or great Andrade Buddy Matthews match, the squash, and then, like, the main event, right? And it felt like, in the women's match as well, and it felt like I was watching, like, the Ryan Ward, like, immediately after the 2016 SmackDown Raw brand split, where it's like when SmackDown was going out, just having really good shows every single week, or most weeks. It felt like one of those. And it felt like a WWE show, and a good one. I don't mean it like because I know a lot of people get on the WWE tropes and the laziness they do and how they book stuff, whatever else. But, like, if you do it well, there is a foundation in place to actually make good shows out of that stuff. It's just Vince is out of his fucking mind, and so is Kevin Dunn with his crazy fucking camera cuts. So for me, it was like I felt like I was watching, like, what Tony Khan's idea of Saturday night, of what his Saturday night main event would look like. Instead of it being, what, 90 minutes or an hour, so Saturday night main event was this 2 hours, and I was like, I really enjoyed this, and, like, I want to see next week. There was no big hook to get you into next week, but that might be because of the Forbidden Door stuff, or what might actually happen on Dynamite this week that might build something on that. But I enjoyed it, and I will be tuning in next week to see where it goes from there. So yeah, like, I'm with you. I'm with you on all that stuff. It's like, to be said, like, for the people that, like, want an alternative, and NXT is too small and the guys are too green, if they do this well, people will check out this show that are in the older demographic. And, like, you know, when we talked about earlier this week about off air about the Elton John music, and it's
let's
like,
bring it
this
to
from 73.
Let's
bring
it in.
Yeah,
Let's bring it
like
in officially.
Yeah, like the theme, the official theme for this for Collision is an Elton John song from 1973, and you were like, you didn't hate the song as far as how it sounded. You just kind of like, well, that's a odd or a bit of an eyebrow raising choice at least, because it's nearly a 50-year-old song.
Yeah,
and like for me, I was like, yeah, that it is. And I was like thinking about it, I was like, well, we talked about like the NXT / WWE people that are going to be kind of like more of the marquee people on this show. They have to figure out a way to make it different from Dynamite. Otherwise, it's going to be Dynamite on Saturdays, which is basically what Rampage already is, kind of, except less stars. How do you make it different? How you make it different is like just do something. Let's do competent WWE, and that's for one episode, that's what it felt like, and I was like, I really enjoyed this. Just like watching like one of them episodes of Raw SmackDown when Vince is in his bag because he has a point to get across and try to get something going, and he's not like out of his mind yet. So
they played that Elton John song, and I was like, all right, they're trying to like this feels like SmackDown on Fox. I'm like, I was like, who is this trying to like appeal to? Because I'm like, it just feels like a change has been made.
The
in
casual
this company.
fan, Rich.
A change has been made in this company, and I'm not necessarily a fan of it. Let's just say that.
For me, if it's done well and it's like, and you still keep the identity of Dynamite intact, then I don't see the harm of it. Because if all the shit that we don't like that's on Dynamite anyway is moved over there, and like that shit has like CM Punk around saying that carny shit you're doing that you think is gonna work over here, but like sucks over here, fuck that, get it off the screen. It's probably gonna make for the best of both situations where like a lot of the shitty Jarrett stuff dies off, and like CM Punk is quote unquote on charge over there, and then the Elite are in charge over here. I know it sucks that like we don't think they want to work with each other, but like if I get good TV from both of them, I don't care.
It presents such an identity crisis, I think, and I think it presents such a war within the fan base. I think John from Omikaze summed it up perfectly. And John said,
he said he thinks he can fracture the fan base, but it's like, if this show is meant to attract like people that the older group that like are at home and like there is no college football right now, and like they watch and they tune in, and they've tried AEW, but they think it's like outlaw mud wrestling shit, but they do remember CM Punk, they do remember Rusev, they do remember Andrade, they do remember, Buddy Murphy or whatever else, and Alistair, and they're over here and they're doing good stuff. I don't see how that takes away from actual Dynamite watchers, because y'all already, or not y'all, like a lot of people are already, gonna kind of pick and choose anyway based off of how they feel about CM Punk and all this shit anyway. And like this is for trying to draw the people that the 50-year-old over 50 people that are home. So in like if you're a Dynamite watcher, in theory, you're not gonna be home for Saturdays at 8:00 any damn way. So this is who they're trying to grab. And I see it as, now that I see it in practice, I kind of see what they're going for.
Mm-hmm. I think, what John was saying, like anytime you can make your fan base hate each other, you got to do it. And then when I think about these pay-per-view shows, and like they ain't going to have separate pay-per-views, so they ain't going to be able to keep this thing separate. But for so long, I just feel like it's a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. The contract situations will be what they are, and I think it's something to pay attention to. And I was looking at it. I was like, all right, and as far as my thoughts on the Punk promo, like maybe if I would have watched it in real time, I would have had a stronger reaction to it. But I thought it was pretty benign. Like I didn't think it was like him going out there and doing like this explosive this explosive damage promo that like people should be that angry with. Like if you're like
no one, right? I don't think anyone should be angry with it. Like if you want to be angry with it, you're angry at the fucking presser after where he's sitting next to Tony Khan and he's eating the fucking muffin and he's taking a blowtorch to the company. This was clearly like, I'm going to say this. Is this okay? Yeah, okay, you can say that. Can I talk about I was a champion? Can I talk about MJF? Yeah, you can talk about that. Can I throw in the line at the Bucks or whatever else just to try to like, if in case we ever do get around to actually doing that, you can say that like I came back and that's my first thing on mind or whatever else. Sure. And like the word was that he got the okay to say that line. Who gave the okay? Clearly not the Young Bucks, I don't think, or Kenny Omega or Adam Page, but someone gave him the okay line with it. And then like, a couple minutes later on the Young Bucks, one of them said like, hey, like we would have put counterfeit bucks on a T-shirt back in 2018. And he said like, or one of them said like, hey, like go kill it. Like for me, it's like he's saying his little thing because that's his thing, that or not his little thing. Like he's saying his piece because that's what people want to see him say is like either be remorseful or be an asshole about it. He chose the asshole route to go about this because like that's the only way it's going to work. Because once he leaves Chicago, he's going to get fucking booed.
I think they're all kind of aware of that too, and
right.
I don't think the Bucks kind of just want to like if
the Bucks don't care, they're unbothered.
Like,
that's where I'm getting at,
bro. Like they're like, all right, you want to do this like passive aggressive like jabs and shit. That's kind of the name of their game too. Like for what they're not like verbally on the microphone, like they know how to like get their point across in ways that like much like CM Punk makes people not stop talking. Like these are both sides are masterful at this. And
to be fair, the Young Bucks were in Chicago, had a trios match where Kenny Omega bit one of their opponent's arms, and then either one of the Young Bucks, both of the Young Bucks fucked up a buttshot lariat. So there was a receipt to be owed in that particular point at that time. So like him giving it verbally, I was perfectly okay with that. And like the Young Bucks clearly appear to be like laughing at it or whatever else. So like for me, it's like Punk is trying still to get a match with them dudes. And to me, them dudes do not give a fuck about having a program with him. And like so for me, I'm like, good. Punk gets to go out there and say the thing that gets him hot for now as he moves on to doing the MJF thing, and then he'll figure out something for him later after that. And the Young Bucks can just go back to not wanting to ever wrestle him again, or not just the Young Bucks, but like them guys never wrestle him again. And it's over now. People are just gonna still talk about it because like there's nothing else to really talk about. It's more controversial than like, these fake fighters had a fight one time and they might still be mad about it a year later.
I'm amazed we're still getting
controversy in business or whatever else. I get it.
I'm amazed we're still getting like juice out of this thing. So like
same.
If they strap one of these guys up, if they strap Punk up again, I think something may jump up again, or I don't know or somebody like doesn't re-sign or something. That's when I think the real next kind of marker.
If there's another shoe to fall, that will be a shoe,
right? Yeah. And then like I'm thinking about like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and the entire saga that generously was like 18 months between WrestleMania 12 and Survivor Series, and you can see after WrestleMania 12. They didn't work together until Survivor Series, right? We're already a year into this thing, like whether people realize it or not. I think we're looking at a similar timeline on whatever resolution comes.
I mean, we're kind of more than a year of like the workers' right things before was what
just over
like
a year,
spring. Yeah. Okay,
so we're just over a year into this, and it's like either they're gonna be playing on different sides of the sandbox. There's gonna be all this mudslinging and just whatever. They're gonna learn to live with each other and just hate it, which I don't know. That doesn't sound appealing to.
It sounds like everybody else is at their jobs. Sorry,
but
I'm sorry that
everybody else
can't be like anybody. Can't be like this perfect utopia.
But everybody else isn't like phenomenal and outstanding like all these guys are, who and have the ability to choose whether they do that or not. So,
Rich, you've been hitting on this for a while. If any of the elite get hold off their spots to go to WWE because a guy that can't whoop half of their asses, I'm gonna look at the Young Bucks like not the Young Bucks. I'm gonna look at the elite like they soft. For just getting hold by like imagine Kenny Omega or Hangman be like, you know what, bro, it's too much pressure. I don't want to wrestle him, but I also don't want to deal with him bullying me. I'm taking my ass to WWE where I get less control to do this, probably less money, less opportunity to do what I want to do. You're fucking buffoons. Stay your ass there. He can't beat you. He your daddy? What?
Look, when it comes to it, we've seen these situations in wrestling with star wrestler and promoter. If you can't beat the connection between Tony Khan and the man he's a mark for in CM Punk, it ain't just CM Punk you're fighting.
But what does it matter if y'all never wrestle each other?
Well, it matters due to money because they're competing more than just wrestling against each other. They're competing for money. They're competing, for the timeline. They're competing for space and the conscience of the wrestling fans, and also
So how
ultimately
much?
being a top star. I
So
don't know how
so
long CM
so
Punk
hold on,
has
hold on,
left.
hold on.
At
I'm trying to get the definition of this.
Okay,
So what money would get in the way that any of those parties feel are due to them from the elite side that will cause them to walk away from what they have to go to WWE to get it?
I don't think it's a money thing. Like I think
Okay.
the money will be like, all right, we'll hold the money up publicly or whatever, and then what happened for real is on the other side, right? It's the disrespect. Like it's not the big things, it's the small things. Like I always take it back to when FTR was in the press conference, basically giving Jim Cornette a hand job and then saying he can say whatever he wants about the company and all that shit, and knowing what Cornette does, right? And Tony Khan just sitting there, allowing it. You can take it back to the scrum. Tony Khan sitting there, allowing it. Elite being silenced at every turn, whether it was being canceled at the press conference, NDA'd up regarding that investigation, never being allowed to speak about it. Hangman himself not being under an NDA, deciding I'm not even going to feed into this because it seems like there's been some kind of directive, whether it's from the elite themselves or it's from TK to basically be like, hey, in order to make this work, can y'all just do me this solid? And maybe they agreed to that.
So because of the fact where the elite have not said things, when we've had times where even Kenny Omega has spoke on it or whatever else, and Hangman clearly is not legally under seal or whatever else to say something or not to say something, that we are to assume that like they have been told by TK don't say nothing and let him say whatever he wants to. I'm not really going down that line. I think people are getting into speculation.
No, I'm just looking. No, I'm just looking at what's happening. Like I'm like the elite clearly aren't saying something.
But if Heyman doesn't want to talk about it, like that doesn't mean that like he was forced not to.
Yeah,
or leaned on not
I
to
agree
either.
with that. I agree with that. And then the fact that he hasn't done anything, and this other guy's still going on about it with no like drudging up all the stories on the Wednesdays that come up every time, and then this ESPN thing. It's like, what do you want from Heyman at this point? Like, how much quieter does he need to be? Like, he just needs to shut the fuck up, resign, and then just allow this all to go down. That sounds like disrespect to me.
Rich, I feel like people, I'm sure you can see it that way, but like the Occam's razor idea or thought of it on figure out what's going on is like them dudes are over it and don't care, and they're not talking because they don't give a fuck.
I don't think it's
like
that
maybe like if whoever else reached out to them and asked them stuff, whatever else, maybe one day they will, but like it's not something they actually feel pressed to talk about. And also like another part of it is like, hey, my contract is coming up real soon. If I shut the fuck up about this, maybe I can get more money out of Tony Khan if I'm just quiet about this, because no one said anything about this. No one knows how I feel. He might feel pressure like, damn, I gotta pay him extra $500,000 a year.
That's a good point.
There's all that stuff involved in all this stuff. So who knows? But you're right. Like Punk talking about this lead to people speculating on both sides, for both sides, as far as Punk's wrong, the elite wrong, even though the elite haven't said anything how the fuck he even come up with their wrong thing. I'm just saying it as like, given all this stuff's going on, I really don't think these dudes give a fuck about what CM Punk is saying, because CM Punk can't whoop them. Like, it will boggle my mind if them dudes left because they're already not wrestling him. They're already doing other stuff without him. They're still in control. The only thing they're not worried about is his booking, because they don't have to book him. So who gives a fuck?
The elite, not the thinnest skin guys in the world. So their perceived nonchalance or not give a fuck, I find that hard to buy. Being as big of a fan of these guys, I know, like, there's a reason they went right into Instagram bio. If they didn't give a fuck, they wouldn't have updated anything. You're right. You make a great point about them shutting the fuck up and then basically coming back to TK and be like, I shut the fuck up for you when we could have like made this ugly and we didn't. That's solid point. I think they should hire James Boyd for that strategy.
Well, they have the same agent, all of them, right?
What's up?
They all have the same agent, don't they? Or at least Omega and the Young Bucks have the same agent, right?
They do.
A representation.
Yeah, Barry. Yeah, they on the Bloom team.
Yeah.
So, all I'm saying is like, yo, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like they were like, yo, we'll leave them to, I just don't see tying the franchise, if you will, to CM Punk, who's about to be 45 and is like super fragile. And
same. Like the idea, like you said earlier, probably like, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes ago, you were like, he might be champion. And I was like, fuck no, he better not be.
Who knows?
That's a terrible idea. He's already been burnt twice with that shit.
Yeah.
He's only getting older.
So
now? I know people have talked about Punk looks better than he had before he left or whatever else, and I don't necessarily disagree about that. But I have yet to hear the dreaded CM Punk feels like he's in the best shape of his life, because that's when you know he's been to lay it down.
I believe I heard Russell Wilson say something of that nature.
Look, all the greats say they feel like the best they've ever felt, and then all of a sudden that's the year they had that decline. They fall off. They prime. That's the end. Last year they prime, or right when it happens. Yep, normally.
Yeah. So we'll keep everything. Anytime there's another big one of these segments, we'll do it here better than anybody in the world. So come to One Nation Radio. But but what was the rest of this show?